Hello folks, today I wanted to share with you my method of delivering my clients' proof and final edit galleries in a professional, efficient way. Now most of you guys know that I start my process right here inside of Lightroom, right? What you're seeing over here is a proof gallery that I've got prepared for my clients. What I've done is I've culled out all of the images that haven't cut the grade here, and what I've done then is actually sequentially named all of my images. So you can see here, this starts off with 1 and it goes all the way through to image 269 right here. All right, so I've given my images a name. It's all sequentially named to make this process manageable. What I do then is I actually export all of these named images into a folder on my system locally, okay? And in this case over here, it'll be called a client proof folder. Inside this client proof folder, I've got all of my client's name and it's got proof attached to the end of it. All right, so I'm managing this in an effective way. So here we go. Sokolova Podzim. All right, there's all of their images, full resolution. All right, so just bear with me on this. Remember that I'm talking about these images being full resolution. Right, what I'm doing now is I'm taking all of these images and uploading them onto a service called Zenfolio right here, okay? Zenfolio is basically a photo sharing service that you can use to professionally present your images to clients, but it comes along with lots of other features. You can use this as a website builder, you can share videos on it. There's a dozen ways, or there's a dozen features that you can use here to present your work. It can be a full-on website with an e-commerce part of the store, all of that. I'm not going to go into all of that. I essentially use Zenfolio just for these photo sharing capabilities. So you can see here the share capabilities, the photo galleries, the photo proofing, and the security of those images. All right. So what I do is I send my images to Zenfolio. All right, let's go and have a look what that looks like in reality here. So over here, you can see we've got Proof Gallery 2022. And when I click on that folder, inside that folder is a whole bunch of subfolders with my clients' images inside of them. All right, here's all these subfolders. Let's go to these guys here, for example. Okay, so when I double click on that gallery, all of the images have been uploaded from my computer into the Zenfolio online database. Okay, so here are all of my images in order. You can see there's a sequential number over there, and it goes all the way through to 269, I think it was. So there's 269 images that made the cut in terms of their proof gallery. All right, so this proof gallery is also secured. All right, it's not visible to the public as such. You can't see it on Zenfolio unless you've got the link, of course. Now in this gallery, I've got downloading not allowed. Okay, obviously we don't want our clients downloading these obviously unedited images in their full resolution. Okay, now I don't just use Zenfolio purely for sharing these galleries. I also use it as my method of backup. So this is why I'm exporting them in full resolution. So I've actually got a copy in the cloud of my images in an unedited state, but I'm also showing it to my clients as a proof gallery. Now, when you see this from a client's point of view, let's go and have a look at that quickly. When you see this from a client's point of view, you're going to see this little watermark set up, okay? And you're going to see that downloading is not possible. All right, so let's say, for example, let's double click on image number 3 here. And we have a look at this image here. You can see that we've got a watermark across it. If I right click here, you can't download. There's no method of downloading there. If I click once more here, you got a full screen view of the image. Okay. And the great thing about this is now a client can go along and go, right, this is my favorite. So they can click on the little heart here, or they can go to the sub menu here and they can actually favorite all of their images. So they can go in and pick their favorites and then share those favorites with you. Okay, they can send you an email link and you'll get a notification from Zenfolio that these particular clients have shared their favorites. You can then, with those favorites identified, you can go and look at the name and then match it up with your gallery inside of Lightroom or your catalog inside of Lightroom. So over here, for example, Soko Podzim 3 is identified there. I've already flagged all of the ones that they wanted me to edit. So they sent me those favorites back. I identified which they were, and then I came back into Lightroom and I put a 5-star on those to say, right, these are the ones that I'm going to be working on. These are the ones that I'm going to edit. Okay. So we'll go here and we can flag all these starred images in my gallery. And these are all of the ones that they chose. And these are all of the ones that are edited. And again, same process. I'll export these images out of Lightroom into a subfolder on my computer locally. And in this case over here, it's called Client Uploads. Very simple. And in those uploads, you will see again, there's my clients. These are the fully edited versions of their images. And then this folder gets uploaded to Zenfolio again as their full resolution images. So let's go and have a look at that. So reverse out of here. And we'll see here that I've got another folder called Portraits 2022. I've identified these are my proof galleries. Okay. And over here, Portraits 2022. Those are completed edits. So I can go again to my client over here. I've already got their name over here. I know who they are. And you can again see these are all the numbers over here that they selected. And these are all the edited final versions. Now, in this particular gallery, my security is slightly different. In this case here, I've got downloading allowed. So obviously, now that I've sent their full edited version of their images, I can send them the link on email, or I can share it with them on Facebook Messenger or wherever. I can transmit that to them, and then they can download those images off of Zenfolio. All right, obviously without watermarks and without any security preventing them from downloading the images. Again, I've got these galleries hidden out of public view. So, you know, obviously you've got the different methods of securing this gallery. You can password, you can lock it, and we'll do all those fancy things. That's all within this photo sharing online application as such. Now, there are other options to Zenfolio. For example, Pixieset. Pixieset also offer a very efficient way of delivering these galleries with your clients. The bonus here, however, is that you've got a free version. All right. You've got up to 3 gigabytes you can store online. So let's say, for example, you're just getting started out right now and you don't have the capacity or you don't have the funds to pay X amount per month for Zenfolio. You can use Pixieset, for example, and use the free version, which is $0 a month, and you've got 3 gigabytes of storage. Now, what you could do is when you're exporting your images out of Lightroom, you could actually export them as much smaller non-full resolution images. So you can scale that down and then you can get quite a lot of images under 3 gigabytes. Okay. And you can obviously share your images with clients. You can share that proof gallery and it'll be minute. Let's say, for example, you cull out all of your images and you've got a set of, let's say, for example, between 100 or 200 images. You can share that gallery with them and you can tell them, look, Mr. and Mrs. X, this gallery, this proof gallery is only available for X amount of time, and you give them a time limit, and then they need to go and select their images or select their images on Pixieset. And once they've done that, you can remove that gallery and you can free up yourself some space there. So obviously, as you get more busy, you can start upgrading to, say, for example, the $8 a month package, and then you can use all of these other options that they give you here. You can have your own domain. Like I said, these services offer you the website front end and also the client gallery end. And in this case over here, they've got quite a couple more options here, like the studio manager and then the mobile app gallery, etc. Okay, so those are the two, I would say, major players that you can pick from. And again, you know, I can't stress this anymore. This is a professional method of delivering galleries to clients, right? There's other free alternatives to, obviously over here you got that 3 gigabytes of space, but you can send your images via Dropbox, but you don't have that freedom of being able to send them in a nicely presented way. We want the clients to have this professional experience, of course, okay? So we want to build that connection. We want to build that ease of use into our system where clients can say, oh, right, we can just go over to our gallery and we can go and have a look at all of our images there, and we'll select our favorites from there, and then we'll send them back to Dan. It's as easy as that, okay? So in this case over here, I've sent them their full resolution images back. They can go and download them super easy. Obviously, I'm sending them their proof gallery with the watermarks on them, okay? I've also now got these images in an online backed up cloud solution. This is why I'm willing to pay for these solutions. If my computer blows up now or my house burns down, I've got another point where I can go and fetch that data from, all right? So obviously that means when we do a shoot, we want to obviously get these images up into the cloud very, very quickly. Not only is it good for our client's experience, obviously it's good for us to have an immediate backup of our work in the event that our houses burn down or something happens to the images on our computers. Okay, so there you go, guys. This is a very efficient way of sharing images with your clients, be it proofs or final edits. Obviously, I also deliver a hard copy of these images. So when I say hard copy, I use that term a little bit loosely here. I actually give them their images on a nice presentable USB with my name engraved on it, and I offer the clients X amount of prints. They can obviously choose how many more prints they want on top of that. These solutions, also being UK and US based, give you options to actually sell prints to your clients, and you can earn some extra profit on top of that. I don't use those services here because obviously I'm in the Czech Republic and we didn't find it as efficient, but for the purpose of sharing galleries with clients, a super professional way of doing so. So folks, thank you very much for tuning into today's very brief session on sharing images with your clients. We'll see you in the next session. Cheers for now.